You are, I trust, well?
Miss Prism has been complaining of a slight headache. It would do her so much good to have a short stroll with you in the park, Dr. Chasuble.
Cecily, I've not mentioned anything about a headache.
No, Miss Prism, but I felt instinctively that you had a headache.
Mr. Earnest Water!
Uncle Jack's brother, Earnest. I have never met any really wicked person before. I'm so afraid he will just look like everyone else. He does.
You are my cousin Cecily, I'm sure.
And you are Uncle Jack's brother, my wicked cousin Earnest.
Oh, you mustn't think that I'm wicked.
I hope you have not been leading a double life, pretending to be wicked but really being good all the time. That would be hypocrisy.
Of course I have been rather reckless.
I'm glad to hear it.
Cecily, you are the prettiest girl I ever saw.
Miss Prism says good looks are a snare.
A snare that every sensible man would like to be caught in.
I wouldn't care to catch a sensible man. What would I talk to him about?
Mr. Worthing, I trust these guards don't betoken some terrible calamity.
My brother Ernest, dead! He died in Paris of a severe chill. Dr. Childs, I suppose you're not Chris and all, right?
Uncle Jack! Uncle Jack, who do you think is in the dining room?
Who?
Your brother Earnest! He arrived about half an hour ago.
I haven't got a brother.
Come now. However badly he may have behaved in the past, he is still your brother.
Well, these are some very dreadful paintings.
Brother John, I am very sorry for all the trouble I have given you. I intend to lead a better life in the future.
Uncle Jack, if you don't shake hands with Earnest, I'll never forgive you.
Is it not pleasant that you decide to prepare a reconciliation?
Scoundrel, Algie, I don't allow any bunburying here. I want you to know I've ordered a dog cart to put your things in it.
You always were so despicable, Jack. I'm in love with Cecily. I'm staying right here.
Oh, I thought you were with Uncle Jack.
He's going to send me away.
Then have we got to part?
I'm afraid so. It's a very painful parting.
It is always painful to part from people one has known for a very brief time.
Cecily, you seem to me to be absolute perfection.
If you'll allow me, I will copy your remarks into my diary.
Do you really keep a diary? I'd give anything to look at it. May I?
Oh, no! It is simply a very young girl's recollection of her own thoughts and impressions, and consequently meant for publication.
Cecily, ever since I looked upon your incomparable beauty, I have dared to love you wildly, passionately, and hopelessly. You will marry me, won't you?
You silly boy! Why, we have been engaged for the past 3 months.
But how?
Ever since dear Uncle Jack first confessed to me that he had a younger brother who was very wicked and bad, I fell in love with you, Earnest.
Darling, and when was the engagement actually settled?
On the 14th of February last. And here is the box where I keep all your dear letters.
But my own sweet Cecily, I have never written you any letters.
You need hardly remind me of that, Earnest. I was forced to write your letters for you.
Oh, what a perfect angel!
It has always been a dream of mine to love someone whose name is Earnest. There's something in that name that seems to inspire absolute confidence.
But do you mean to say you could not love me if I had some other name?
What name?
Oh, well, any name you like. Algernon, for instance.
Algernon?
Well, my dear sweet darling, I can't see why you should object to the name of Algernon. Half the chaps in the bankruptcy court are called Algernon. If my name was Algie, couldn't you love me?
I might respect you, Earnest, but I would not be able to give you my undivided attention.
Then I must see your rector at once on a most important christening. I mean on most important business. I shan't be away for more than half an hour.
Considering we are engaged and I only met you today, I think it is rather hard that you should leave me for so long a period as half an hour.
I'll be back in no time.
I like his hair so much! I must enter his proposal into my diary.
Miss Gwendolyn Fairfax!
name is Cecily Cardew.
Mama has brought me up to be extremely short-sighted. So do you mind my looking at you through my glasses?
Not at all, Gwendolyn. I'm very fond of being looked at.
You are here on short visit?
Oh no, I live here.
Really? A female relative of advanced years resides here also?
Oh no, I have no relations. I am Mr. Worthing's ward.
Ernest never told me he had a ward. Yet, I cannot help expressing a wish that you were fully 42 and more than unusually plain for your age.
But it is not Mr. Ernest Worthing who is my guardian. It is his elder brother. In fact, dearest Gwendolyn, Mr. Ernest Worthing and I are engaged to be married.
My darling Cecily, there must be some slight error. Mr. Ernest Worthing is engaged to me. The announcement appears in the post on Saturday.
I'm afraid you must be under some misconception. Ernest proposed to me exactly 10 minutes ago.
Yes, but Mr. Ernest Worthing proposed to me yesterday afternoon at exactly 5:30. I am so sorry, my dear Cecily, but I have the prior claim.
Dearest Gwendolyn, I feel bound to point out that since Ernest proposed to you, he clearly has changed his mind.
From the moment I saw you, I felt that you were false and deceitful. Ernest, my own Ernest. A moment, Ernest. May I ask if you're engaged to be married to this young lady?
Cecily? Of course not. What put such an idea into your pretty little head?
I knew there must be some misunderstanding. Miss Fairfax, this gentleman is my dear guardian, Mr. Jack Worthing.
Jack? Oh!
Here is Ernest.
My own love.
A moment, Ernest. Are you engaged to be married to this young lady?
Good heavens. Gwendolyn?
Yes, to good heavens, Gwendolyn.
Of course not. What put such an idea in your pretty little head?
I felt there was some slight error, Miss Cardew. The gentleman who is now embracing you is my cousin, Mr. Algernon Moncrief.
Algernon Moncrief! Oh! Are you called Algernon?
I cannot deny it.
Is your name really Jack?
I cannot deny it.
A gross deception has been practiced on both of us!
My poor wounded Cecily!
My sweet wronged Gwendolyn!
Mr. Worthing, we only have one question. Where is your brother, Ernest?
I have no brother, Ernest. I've never had a brother.
Had you never a brother of any kind?
No, not of any kind.
I'm afraid, dear Cecily, neither of us is engaged to be married to anyone.
Mr. Moncrief, why did you pretend to be my guardian's brother?
In order that I might have the opportunity of meeting you.
That certainly seems a satisfactory explanation, does it not?
Mr. Worthing, what explanation can you offer me for pretending to have a brother? Was it in order to come up to town to see me?
Can you doubt it, Miss Fairfax?
I have the gravest doubts, but I intend to crush them. Still, there are principles at stake that one cannot surrender. Your Christian names are still an insuperable barrier.
But we're going to be christened this afternoon.
For my sake, you're prepared to do this terrible thing?
I am.
To please me, you are ready to face this fearful ordeal.
I am.
Darling!
Gwendolyn, what does this mean?
That I am engaged to be married to Mr. Worthing, Mama.
Oh, you are nothing of the sort. Algernon, may I ask if this is the home where your invalid friend, Mr. Bunbury, resides?
Oh, no. Bunbury doesn't live here. Bunbury is somewhere else at present. In fact, Bunbury is dead.
Dead? When did Mr. Bunbury die?
Oh, I killed Bunbury this afternoon. Excuse me, I mean, poor Bunbury died this afternoon.
What did he die of?
Oh, he was quite exploded.
Mr. Worthing, may I ask whose hand my nephew is holding in what seems to be a particularly unnecessary manner?
That is Miss Cecily Cardew, my ward.
I am engaged to be married to Cecily, Aunt Augusta.
The number of engagements that go around in this part of Hertfordshire seems well above the proper average. May I ask if Miss Cardew has any little fortune?
Oh, a mere £130,000.
£130,000. Well, Miss Cardew is a very attractive young lady now that I look at her. There are distinct social possibilities in her profile.
Cecily is the sweetest, dearest, and prettiest girl in the whole world, and I don't care 2 pence about social possibilities.
Never speak disrespectfully of society, Algernon. Only those who can't get into it to do that. Well, I suppose I must give my consent.
Oh, my dear Lady Bracknell, this engagement is quite out of the question. Miss Cardew cannot marry without my consent, which I absolutely decline to give.
Upon what grounds? My nephew Algernon is an extremely, dare I say, ostentatiously eligible young man. He has nothing, yet he looks everything.
The fact is, I do not approve of his moral character. This afternoon, he obtained admission to my house by means of false pretense of being my brother. He subsequently stayed to tea and devoured every single muffin!
Good God!
But my dear Lady Bracknell, the moment you consent to my marriage to Gwendolyn, I will happily allow your nephew to form an alliance with my ward.
Everything's quite ready for christening.
The christening, sir? Is that not somewhat premature?
I don't think that'd be of much practical value to either of us now, Dr. Chasuble.
Then I shall return to the church. Miss Prism waits for me in the vestry.
Miss Prism? Is this Miss Prism, a female of repellent aspect, remotely connected to education? I must see her at once.
She approaches. She is not.
Miss Prism! Come here, Prism. Prism, where is that baby?
Baby?
28 years ago, you left Lord Bracknell's house in charge of a perambulator containing a baby of the male sex. You never returned. Weeks later, the perambulator was found containing a 3-volume novel of more than the usual revolting sentimentality. But the baby was not found. Miss Prism, where is that baby?
On the morning you mentioned, I took the baby out in its pram. I also had a capacious handbag in which I meant to place a work of fiction I had written. In a moment of mental abstraction, I deposited the manuscript in the bassinet and placed the baby in the hell.
But where did you deposit the handbag?
In the cloakroom of Victoria Station.
Gwendolyn, wait here for me.
The suspense is terrible. I hope it lasts.
Is this the handbag, Miss Prism?
Yes!
Miss Prism, I was the baby you placed in that handbag. Mother!
Mr. Worthing, I am unmarried.
I'm married! I don't deny that's a serious blow. But Mother, I forgive you.
Mr. Worthing, there is a lady who can tell you who you really are.
Oh.
I hate to seem inquisitive. Would you kindly inform me who I am?
You are the son of my poor sister and therefore Algernon's elder brother.
But I've got a brother after all.
But what is your Christian name now that you've become someone else?
What name was I given? Let me know the worst.
Naturally, you are christened after your father, but I cannot remember now what the general's name was, though it would be found in any military directory.
Malum, Magley, Maximum, what ghastly names they'll have. Markby, Miggs, Mobbs, Moncrief, 1869. Christian name? Earnest John! Gwendolyn, didn't they always tell you my name was Earnest? What is Earnest after all?
I now remember that the general's name was Earnest. I know I had some particular reason for disliking the name.
My own Earnest. I felt it from the first you could have no other name.
Gwendolyn, it is a terrible thing for a man to find out suddenly that all his life he has been speaking nothing but the truth. Can you forgive me?
I can, for I feel that you are sure to change.
Gwendolyn, my own one at last.
Nephew, you seem to be displaying signs of triviality.
On the contrary, Aunt Augusta, for the first time in my life, I've realized the vital importance of being earnest.